This is just a sample of the audiobook. To get the complete audiobook, access the link posted in the first comment.
Principles of philosophy as the least of his endowments. It was from him that I learned how to receive from friends what are thought favours without seeming humbled by the giver or insensible to the gift. 9. Sextus was my pattern of a benign temper, and his family the model of a household governed by true paternal affection and a steadfast purpose of living according to nature. Here I could learn to be grave without affectation, to observe sagaciously the several dispositions and inclinations of my friends, to tolerate the ignorant and those who follow current opinions without examination. His conversation showed how a man may accommodate himself to all men and to all companies, for though companionship with him was sweeter and more pleasing than any sort of flattery, yet he was at the same time highly respected and reverenced. No man was ever more happy than he in comprehending, finding out, and arranging in exact order the great maxims necessary for the conduct of life. His example taught me to suppress even the least appearance of anger or any other passion, but still, with all this perfect tranquillity, to possess the tenderest and most affectionate heart, to be apt to approve others, yet without noise, to have much learning and little ostentation. 10. I learned from Alexander the grammarian to avoid censuring others, to refrain from flouting them for a barbarism, solecism, or any false pronunciation. Rather was I dexterously to pronounce the words rightly in my answer, confining approval or objection to the matter itself, and avoiding discussion of the expression, or to use some other form of courteous suggestion. 11. Fronto made me sensible how much of envy, deceit, and hypocrisy surrounds princes, and that generally those whom we account nobly born have somehow less natural affection. 12. I learned from Alexander the Platonist not often or without great necessity to say or write to any man in a letter that I am not at leisure, nor thus, under pretext of urgent affairs, to make a practice of excusing myself from the duties which, according to our various ties, we owe to those with whom we live. 13. Of Catullus I learned not to condemn any friend's expostulation even though it were unjust, but to try to recall him to his former disposition, to stint no praise in speaking of my masters, as is recounted of Domitius and Athenodorus, and to love my children with true affection. 14. Of Severus my brother I learned to love my kinsman, to love truth, to love justice. Through him I came to know Thracia, Helvidius, Cato, Dion, and Brutus. He gave me my first conception of a commonwealth founded upon equitable laws and administered with equality of right, and of a monarchy whose chief concern is the freedom of its subjects. Of him I learned likewise a constant and harmonious devotion to philosophy, to be ready to do good, to be generous with all my heart. He taught me to be of good hope and trustful of the affection of my friends. I observed in him candour in declaring what he condemned in the conduct of others, and so frank and open was his behaviour that his friends might easily see without the trouble of conjecture what he liked or disliked. 15. The counsels of Maximus taught me to command myself, to judge clearly, to be of good courage in sickness and other misfortunes, to be moderate, gentle, yet serious in disposition, and to accomplish my appointed task without repining. All men believed that he spoke as he thought, and whatever he did, they knew it was done with good intent. I never found him surprised or astonished at anything. He was never in a hurry, never shrank from his purpose, was never at a loss or dejected. He was no facile smiler, but neither was he passionate or suspicious. He was ready to do good, to forgive, and to speak truth, and gave the impression of unperverted rectitude rather than of a reformed character. No man could ever think himself despised by Maximus, and no one ever ventured to think himself his superior. He also had a good gift of humour. 16. I learned from my father gentleness and undeviating constancy in judgments formed after due reflection, not to be puffed up with glory as men understand it.